Hi, my name is Kalpana Murthy, and I'm a psychotherapist in private practice in Atlanta, Georgia. And I'm here today to talk about one of my favorite subjects, and that is, what is EMDR therapy? And even though EMDR has been around for 25 years and has helped millions of people worldwide get past their past, there's still so many people who don't know about it, and as a result, they're struggling with something that could go away in just a few sessions with EMDR therapy. I first learned about EMDR even before I became a therapist, when a friend told me about it. And I had a powerful, helpful experience with my own EMDR therapy. And my experience, combined with what I've seen in my therapy practice, where over the years I have worked with hundreds of clients and have seen how they quickly healed from a range of problems that they had been trying lots of ways to solve and had just gotten to the point where they were feeling stuck and that they kind of maybe had to live with it. And the good news is you don't have to live with it. So what is EMDR? It stands for Eye Movement Desensitization and Reprocessing. But a simpler way to think about it is it's memory reprocessing. But when we talk about processing a memory with EMDR, we don't mean talking about the memory in detail the way you would in traditional talk therapy. Processing with EMDR means we are setting up the brain's natural learning state and the brain's information processing model. And then when we've accessed that model in the brain, we are facilitating the brain's process to link that upsetting memory up with other information in your brain so that that memory is transformed, adapted, and is stored in your brain in a way that it's useful for you and is no longer contributing to problems such as anxiety or depression or negative self-talk or causing you to have problems in your relationships or your career or to cope with stress in ways that you'd rather not have. So what EMDR is based on is that the brain has a mechanism where what it does is it takes the information of our experiences of the day, and at night while we're sleeping, during rapid eye movement sleep or REM sleep, our brain sorts through the experiences of the day and says, hey, what information from the day does this person need to hold on to for their well-being, for their survival? And they take that information, the brain links it up with other information, so we learn from the day's experience. And during that same process, the brain says, hey, what's the experiences of the day that's kind of useless? We don't need to remember those kind of things. They're not serving us well. And that's why you can go to bed at night and maybe something is bothering you from the day. Maybe something somebody said or did is frustrating or annoying you, or maybe there's a problem you've been trying to solve and you can't kind of figure it out, or maybe you've been studying for an exam and you're having trouble learning the information. And then have you ever noticed you wake up the next day and whatever was bothering you doesn't seem as upsetting, or maybe you figured out the solution to that problem, or you've learned the material you were studying for? That's because of that natural process that happens at night where our brain takes the information of the day and learns it and stores it. But here's what we know. When we have certain types of upsetting, disturbing, or traumatic experiences happen, the brain stores the information in a way that doesn't serve us. So when we have those types of experiences, the brain kind of gets stuck on them, meaning it takes all of the information that happened during that experience, and that's all the sensory information, any physical sensations you had at the time it happened, as well as at the time that experience happened, how it made you feel about yourself. And the brain kind of stores it, and I want you to almost think about it as an ice cube, and what's stuck and frozen in that ice cube is all that information associated with that memory. And the brain is doing that for a reason, because when we have these types of upsetting experiences happen to us, we feel that we're not going to survive in some way. And these upsetting experiences don't have to be what people consider major trauma, where your physical safety or your life is at stake. Things that make us feel uncomfortable emotionally, such as experiences where we feel embarrassed or shame or criticized or not good enough, those types of experiences are equally disturbing to our well-being and our survival. And our brain doesn't really make the distinction between something that is a threat to our physical well-being or emotional well-being. The brain says, hey, we want this person to remember this experience, so in the future, if a similar experience happens, they can protect themselves, they can survive. But sometimes the way that information gets stored isn't serving us. And so what we're doing with EMDR is we are identifying memories that are contributing to present-day issues, and often you may not know what those are, but there's a process that we follow as part of the EMDR protocol to identify what the root cause is of some of the issues you may want to work on. And then, while you are focusing or thinking about the memory and connecting to the feelings that come up for you present day when you're thinking about the memory, you are engaging the right and left hemispheres of your brain. One way of doing that is by moving your eyes back and forth from right to left, so that's the EM part of EMDR. And there's other ways that we can engage the right and left hemispheres of the brain. You can be wearing an audio headset and you'll hear a tone alternating in your right and left ear. Or you can hold a small battery-operated device in each of your hands and you'll have a physical tapping sensation. All three of those things are doing the same thing of kind of trying to replicate what happens not only during rapid eye movement sleep at night, but also what happens with sort of working memory. And during that process, while you are having an EMDR session, your brain is connecting that stuck frozen information with all the other information you have in your brain and the wisdom and perspective you have now, and it's doing what it does at night, meaning what is useful about that memory will be held onto and what is useless will be discarded. And so at the end of the EMDR session, when you think about the memory in the future, it may have been distressing in some way when you started the EMDR session, but as a result of the connections and the learning and the insights that has happened during your EMDR session, that memory will not feel as emotionally distressing and won't have the physical charge that it may have had. And that's the D part of the EMDR, the desensitization. And the R part, the reprocessing, means that gut level negative belief that you had made about yourself at the time of the experience and that feels true now, maybe rationally you know it's not true, but at a gut level it felt true, that belief would have also shifted because of the learning that would have taken place during the EMDR processing. So that negative self-talk that has held you back in your life or has caused you problems, that belief will no longer feel true, and it will be replaced by something that you've generated on your own during the processing. And it'll feel true to you not because you're telling yourself, hey, I need a positive affirmation around that, I need to think positively, but it'll feel true because of the learning that has happened. So one of the things that I know for sure, based on what I've witnessed in my own EMDR work, as well as with working with all the clients I've worked with EMDR, is that time and talk alone does not take care of upsetting experiences from the past. And that's because of the way those experiences got stuck and stored in your brain. And that is why we need to sort of engage the brain's information processing model to move that information and change the form of it so it's stored in a way that is useful to you and enhances your well-being. So if you would like to learn more about EMDR therapy, please visit my website, genuineconnection.com. I hope this information has been of help to you or somebody you know, and I look forward to connecting with you soon. Thank you.